Hello everybody, welcome to this video. I'm InksLaura123 and in this video I'm going to be talking about religion. Probably one of the worst subjects to talk about because people say, you shouldn't talk about politics and you shouldn't talk about religion, but there we go, I'm a rebel. So basically I'm doing this video because sometimes people get a bit confused with my whole kind of religious beliefs, and yeah, I can understand why they'd get confused because as you can see, I always wear my Star of David necklace, which is of course the symbol for Judaism, Jews, and I also then say, oh, I'm really looking forward to Christmas and here's my Easter egg that I got, and then I say, hey, here's my tarot cards that I'm gonna do, which is definitely not Judaism or Christianity, so people get very confused. I get very confused, if I'm honest. I think I'm a bit of different, faiths, Anyway, but basically, so here's the story and how I kind of see my religious side. So my mum is Jewish, my grandma is Jewish. So from the mother's side, I'm Jewish, okay? And basically in Judaism, if your mum's Jewish, pretty much means you're Jewish, okay? However, if you're in like Reform Judaism, you can also be seen as Jewish if your dad's Jewish, okay? It's all very confusing. There's lots of different sects of Judaism. I don't know how to word it, but there's lots of different like names of Judaism, like Reform and Liberal and Orthodox and ultra Orthodox. It's just so many, but there is of Christianity as well. There's lots of different. I see it right as a tree with lots of branches coming off it, and so it's all that kind of, it's all Jewish or it's all Christian, and there's lots of different branches coming off that are different things. So they're the same, but they do things a different way. That's how I always see it. Anyway, but yeah, so basically, mum's side, I am Jewish from that side, and as I say, in Jewish law, you are Jewish if your mother's Jewish, okay? Dad's side, my dad was Protestant, okay, Christian. So I was getting confused already. But yeah, he was Christian, and basically when he met my mum, back in the day, it was a little bit more stricter laws with whole kind of like interfaith marriage and things. So him and mum met, fell in love, blah, 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 want to get married. My grandma, on my mum's side, was not so keen, even though she really liked my dad. She was very religious Jew. And when I say very religious, I don't mean ultra Orthodox, okay? I just mean very religious in her own kind of liberal way, okay? Anyway, so yeah, basically she was like, said to mum, if you want to marry Barry, my dad, that's cool, but I want him to convert to Judaism because then it's not interfaith and all that. Anyway, so yeah, that's what happened. My dad converted to Judaism, and that was really cool because he loved my mum so much and respected her family. His family didn't care what he was. They were not into religion at all. So anyway, that's that. And I was raised pretty much atheist, okay? So by the time my mum and dad kind of grew up and then they had me, my mum wasn't into religion anymore at all, and my dad wasn't, so I was kind of raised atheist, not interested in anything. However, I was kind of taught about Jewish tradition from my grandma, and she would tell me different things and show me like when she'd light the menorah at Hanukkah, things like that. So I did know a little bit about it, but I wasn't like full on information. She never kind of pushed it down my throat kind of thing, but she would want me to know little traditional things about Judaism and stuff. And yeah, so basically that's that. That's that. But then like over the years, when I started at school, basically there were hardly any Jewish children in my school. Like literally, there must have been a handful. It was a pretty big school. And there was hardly any Jews at all, apart from me and a few others. And basically at assembly time in the morning, so they would do Christian, because it was a mainly Christian school. They would do Christian prayers and hymns and things like that. And, on the Christian festivals, there'd be assemblies for that. And basically what they do is they take the Jewish children out, not me, because I'd kept quiet about it, but I'll tell you why in a minute. They take them out, like segregate them, and then make them walk in at the end in front of everyone. And I used to feel so awful because they were just like, everyone used to laugh and snigger at them. They're weird, they've been kept out, and laugh at them. And, they could have just kept them in a separate room and not brought them back in, but they had to bring them back in at the end. Everyone looked and laughed at them, and they were just segregated. And so once I saw that was happening, I said to my mum, please don't tell the school I'm Jewish, because I don't want to be left out. I don't want to be bullied. I don't want to be laughed at. So that kind of was my mindset, because I was frightened to say, actually, I'm Jewish. I'm from a Jewish family and stuff. So kept quiet about it. Then obviously as I got older, I went to high school. Once again, didn't know anyone Jewish at all. Like, I don't even think there was anyone Jewish at high school. I know at junior school there was, not a high school that I can remember. And then at college, progressing on in education, went to college and I met one Jewish girl, and she was very open about it. And it was the first person I'd ever met who was very open about being Jewish and proud of being Jewish. And I kind of embraced that. I was like, oh, this is great. I finally met someone who's also this, religion that no one else seems to be apart from me. I'm having to keep quiet about it. So anyway, I got friends with her, much to my grandma's happiness. She was like, yes, she's got a Jewish friend. So yeah, basically, I never told this girl that I was Jewish, but I'd be friends with her and want to find out more about, because she'd go to synagogue a lot of her family and things like that. So I'd kind of find out information about stuff from her. And then basically, I was literally thinking, you know what? I'm ready to kind of come out as such. Not that you should need to, but I'm just saying, I felt ready to kind of open up to people and say, hey, I'm Jewish as well, like my friend here. But just as I was about to do that, honestly, this is really weird. That same week, right, there was a group of guys at the college, and they must have found out that my friend was Jewish. They weren't even in our class, so I don't know how that happened. But anyway, they found out, they come up to her, and they started pelting her with pennies, like money. And I'll never forget her face. She looked so upset. She ran out, and I ran after her into the toilet, and she was just crying and crying. And she's like, oh, God, I wish you wouldn't be so open. I was like, you should never be ashamed of what you are. And as I said that, I was like, I'm not ashamed of being Jewish, but I did not want that to happen to me. Just as I'm about to tell people, hey, I'm a Jew, I was like, no, because that's how it makes you feel. You feel scared. You feel scared to say you're something different than the norm. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you was in an area where there's loads of Jews, it probably wouldn't be an issue. But for some reason in my area, there just wasn't. There's a few more now than there was around the kind of surrounding areas. But back in the day, there just wasn't that many. Anyway, so I never told anyone at college either. And then I had left college, and I started obviously doing different jobs and things. And I just kind of didn't think about religion. And I actually got into kind of spirituality. After my granddad died, I got really into spirituality. I used to go to a spiritualist church, which they didn't do Christian hymns or anything. It was literally like a spiritualist thing. So they try and communicate to the dead. And that kind of helped me get through my grief with my granddad. So I was very, very close to my granddad and my grandma. But when granddad died, I kind of turned to this spiritualism thing. And it really helped me. I'd never knock it. People are like, it's a load of rubbish. But look, maybe there are charlatans out there, but there are a lot of people who are genuine as well. And I do believe you can communicate with spirit. I'll always, think that. So anyway, that was that. And I kind of turned into the whole spiritual thing. And I got into all different Wicca stuff, like reading tarot cards, crystals. And I kind of went down that route instead. And then basically I remember seeing a film. I was with an ex-boyfriend at the time, and he said, oh, I want to watch this film. I was like, okay. And it was a film called The Pianist. Now, if you've never seen The Pianist, honestly, I advise you see it. It's very touching, but it really does hit you hard. It's an emotional, beautifully made film. Very well acted as well. Anyway, so I watched this film. Didn't really know, obviously, what it was about. And then I discovered it was, about Jews and things like that, and how horrible they were treated in the war. And it was quite, imagine Schindler's List, that kind of emotional, horrible, very sad, but very poignant film. And after I watched that film, I thought, why these people, my people, I'm from a Jewish family. Why should we have to be ashamed of who we are? And if we're different, so what? Different is good. And, there's a lot of good qualities about Jewish people. And I just started to have this awakening that I wanted to be proud and learn more about it. So that was that. And then sadly, when my grandma passed away, who, meant the world to me, as my granddad meant the world to me, she passed away. And I think when I went to her stone setting and stuff like that, when they put the grave down, it's all very depressing. They basically have a local rabbi, and he was basically, singing all these Jewish songs and prayers. And I'm not kidding, it really touched me. Obviously I was grieving because I was there and it was my grandma's thing, but it was more than that. It was even though I didn't understand the words because they were sung in Hebrew, Yiddish, I I still felt something that I'd never felt before. And just being around this rabbi, and I don't know what it was, I just had like a spiritual connection. And I vowed that day I was going to, find out more and more and more about Judaism. I was going to get in touch with my Jewish side and be proud to be Jewish. Never hold it back anymore. Never be embarrassed to say it. Never feel like, oh my God, I mustn't say I'm Jewish because this. Just saying it, just being like proud to be a Jew. I'm proud to be Jewish, which sounds really weird to some of you, but it is a big thing for me because, as I say, I was so scared back in the day to be honest about my religion and my family's, bits and pieces, that I just chickened out of saying who I was. And you should never be ashamed of who you are, and what you believe and stuff. And then, basically that's what's happened, since my grandma died 5 years ago now. I can't believe it's been 5 years. It's mad. It feels like yesterday. I've just discovered more and more about it. Like, look, I'm not physically like full on religious or anything, okay? But I do try and keep up with traditions. I light up the menorah at Hanukkah, and I just, I do my own thing, like my personal kind of prayers, my personal studying into religious, like my Jewishness. And I don't even know how to word this, but I just kind of try and go on my own self-discovery of Judaism. And, it helps me. It makes me feel good about myself. It brings me closer to my grandma. So my grandma and granddad, like my granddad wasn't into religion at all. Like he knew he was Jewish, like he was never like ashamed or anything, but he just wasn't into religion at all. I think his religion was the betting shop. He liked to gamble. Gambling was his religion. But it's true. But my grandma was, very much into religion, and it got her through so much in her life, and I think that's why she loved it so much. It meant so much to her. Like her mum died when she was 8. She lost husbands in the war. She obviously went through the whole war thing and stuff like that, and her faith kept her strong. It kept her going. And now I see that every time something like negative happens in my life, or if I see horrible stuff on the news and stuff and I get stressed, turn into prayer and turn into this religion thing does kind of, I don't know, it helps a little bit, And as I say, I'm not full on religious, but I try and, do as much as I can to my level of religion that I want to go, And it just makes me feel nice. I wear my Star of David. So if Grandma's up there, she'll be very proud of me for wearing my Kamaya. It just brings me closer to God and to my Jewish tribe. I like going like online on Instagram and Twitter and following like other Jews and stuff, and they follow me, and just kind of spreading the love of Jews, because even now like Jews I think are quite segregated. There's a lot of hate towards Jews even now. It's 2018 and we're having to deal with anti-Semitic crimes. It's horrible. Look, I don't believe in hate on any religion. Like if you want to believe in your religion, respect to you. Do you know what I mean? So I hate it when people are like nasty to Jewish people or anybody of a religious faith, just because they're religion. Like there's good Jews, there's bad Jews, there's nice this, there's nice that, there's bad this, there's bad that. It's just a personal thing, not on your faith, I'm rambling, sorry, but there we go. I don't know. So that's that. And then obviously I'm still into like my spiritual stuff. I've been getting back into my tarot card reading lately. And that's obviously not a Jewish thing. That's kind of more kind of spiritual, mystical, magical, Wicca kind of thing. I don't know. But it's kind of, very opposite of Judaism. But there's an actual part of Judaism called Kabbalah, which is mystical Judaism, which I'm really fascinated by. And at some point I would like to look more into that, because as much as I love Jewishness, I also am fascinated by mystical stuff and spiritual things as well. So, the Christian side of me, from my dad's side, there isn't really much. People think that all Jews don't like Jesus. Number one, I don't know him, never knew him, so I can't judge, just saying. But not all Jews do not like Jesus. There's actually a sect called Jews for Jesus. So trust me, not all Jews hate Jesus. Look, I don't hate him. I never knew him, but he seemed an alright guy to me. For Christianity, I don't feel anything. There's nothing from my dad's side. I don't feel any connection with Christianity at all. Yes, I love Christmas, and I might have a bit of an Easter egg, a bit of chocolate at Easter. But I don't have any connection with Christianity at all. I have respect for Christianity, and the way I look at it is Christianity and Judaism are quite kind of close together anyway. Because the Christian people and Catholics and that, you read the first bit. Sorry, I'm really useless with all this, but you read the first bit of the Bible, which is obviously Jewish, Moses and all that stuff. Yeah, so he was Jewish. Jesus was a Jew. Let's put it straight. Anyway, but yeah, so from that, my mum always let me, and my dad let me celebrate Christmas and stuff, because they didn't want me to be the odd one out. All the kids are getting Christmas gifts and presents and decorating the house, and they didn't want to be like, oh, we're not into religion, so you're not having Christmas presents. So they let me do it, but it was more of a kind of Christmas, like Father Christmas stuff. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like a religious Jesus thing. It was Christmas was a fun kind of festive holiday, and Father Christmas was there, and Rudolph the reindeer and all that. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to my mum, she was, raised Jewish, obviously, and she went to a Jewish school in London, and, she was, into it, she went to the school, she was like breathing it, she learnt about it and stuff. But over the years, she just kind of just lost, I mean, look, she's not ashamed to be Jewish. She still knows she's Jewish. She's still proud to be Jewish. But she's not into it. Like, she eats bacon, she's a naughty Jew. But you know what I think? Yeah, if you want to be like ultra Orthodox Jew and live by tradition and old fashioned ways, respect to you. Like, if you want to be Orthodox in any religion, respect, if you want to do that. But I think it's for me, and definitely for my mum and stuff, I think it's nice. You can still be a good person and still consider myself as Jewish, just by, doing our own style of it, not going full on, but celebrating certain traditional, events and things like that. And I try and go to synagogue a little bit, but I'll be honest with you, I do feel out of place in the synagogue. I think it's because I'm obviously not a regular. The ones that go are quite regular goers. They're very kind of cliquey. They're not like nasty or anything, but I've been a few times on like Yom Kippur, which is like very kind of special. Well, probably one of the most holiest days in the Jewish calendar. You kind of think of the dead and things like that. It's quite a sad day actually, but very emotional day. And I've been there a few times, and I just feel kind of out of it. Like, no one really talks to me or anything. I get the odd smile, but I don't feel comfortable. And it's a shame, because like the actual synagogue, right? I love it. It's beautiful. It's got all the stained glass windows and all the ark and everything. And it's just, it's beautiful. But the people just, I don't know, they just make me feel a bit uncomfortable. That could be me being a paranoid weirdo, because I am paranoid anyway, that I don't fit in and stuff like that. So it could be me, or it could be the fact that they just don't know me and I've just like randomly turned up. I don't know. But I try and go at certain times of the year, and like there's a light up every year in Southend. They do like a public menorah light up. So they light up this big old menorah that's put out. It's not really lit up, it's just a light. It's not a fire. They just press a switch and it lights up, and they do the prayers and stuff. I don't know the words. But yeah, so I go to that, and I don't know, look, I just think if my grandma can see me and she's like, at least you're doing a bit, Laura, at least you're learning a bit, and at least I'm not embarrassed to say I'm Jewish, I'm not ashamed. As I say, I was never ashamed, I was just scared to say it. I was scared to say I was Jewish because I didn't want to get bullied and laughed at, and you know what, it's really awful. If you are Jewish, okay, and watching this, or if you're any religion and watching this, and you've always been a bit awkward about telling people, and not even religion, like it could be your sexuality, or it could be something, a hobby that you're interested in, and that you kind of keep it to yourself because you embarrass what other people think. Please listen to me, stop, okay? Stop worrying what people think, and if, they've got a problem, it's their problem. It's not your problem. You should never be ashamed or embarrassed to say who you are and what you believe and what you like. When it comes to politics, I have my own views and opinions. And yeah, look, I believe that everyone's got a right to their own brain and their own thought process and views. And, I don't agree with everyone, and they don't agree with me, but you kind of have to respect people, and you have to respect difference of opinion and respect each other's views, and just, agree to disagree sometimes. But yeah, I don't know. Look, I love being Jewish. I'm very proud of it. Jews are great people, and all the stereotypes that I've heard about Jews over the years, it's absolutely crap. Like, yeah, we're supposed to be really tight with money. Literally, every Jew that I've known, like from my family and stuff, has always been so generous. Like, literally, even if they didn't have much money, which is another thing, people think, oh, all Jews are rich. Well, my grandma and granddad lived in a little flat, My mum and dad worked hard to get a house, do you know what I mean? Which isn't anything special. Not all Jews are rich, okay? And yeah, they were always generous people. My mum always like treats me, even now, like a baby. She's like, do you want this? Do you want 20 quid? Do you want this? Go and get yourself this. Go and treat yourself. So whenever I hear people say, oh, Jews are really tight, I think it's really horrible, obviously. And it's really crap. And all right, look, some maybe are a bit tight and stingy, but there's, stingy Christians. There's tight Christians who don't want to pay out and want the best offer. There's Muslims out there who are stingy. It's not just Jews that are stingy and careful with their money. And even if we are careful with our money, surely that's a good thing. I don't know. But there's horrible thing. Like they say Jews, like, we're the Illuminati and we're evil and all this stuff. And I'm like, what? Where do they even get this shit from? It's just, to me, it's another form of anti-Semitic crap. Jew hatred. Over the years or centuries, Jews have gone through this kind of hate. And we always rise up against it. We always fight back. And, to me, I think the worst thing that ever happened was the Holocaust regarding Jews. And I will say it wasn't just Jewish people that got killed, obviously, in the Holocaust. And I have such sorrow and love and, respect for all those people who lost their lives and their families and stuff. Absolutely awful what happened, But obviously, I think the majority of them that got killed in the Holocaust were Jewish people. And, I've seen films now and I've read books and things and documentaries, and it's just absolutely awful. And it's like, we're still going through it now. We've still got this hatred. People still hate us, and it's really sad. Like, I read a couple of weeks ago, there was a lady in France, like, who'd actually been a Holocaust survivor. She was like in her 90s or in 80s or 90s, something like that. She was very old, and she was a Holocaust survivor, and these vile scumbags basically killed her. They murdered her just because she was Jewish. No other reason. She was a little old lady, happened to be Jewish. They found out she was Jewish, terrorised her, and then murdered her. And there's lots of crimes, literally. Every day I go online and I see another anti-Semitic crime. There's like horrible graffitis going up, like lots of, Nazi symbols that I don't even want to say the name of because it makes me sick. Like just trying to scare Jews from the area. I know a lot of Jews in France are just kind of going from France to Israel because, and then it comes to Israel, which I'm not going to go into now, but like everyone's like, it's kind of 50-50. Some people are pro-Israel, some people are against Israel. The way I look at it, look, I don't know enough about politics. As much as I like try and get into it, I don't know everything. I'm not a politician. I'm not like, clued up. All I know, I see, Israel as the promised land. And I love Israel for that fact. It's very important to Jews, the only Jewish state we've got. So I've got so much love for Israel. Some of the ways that, people kind of say about Israel, like there's so much hate towards Israel that annoys me. But then some will tell me something else. I'm like, oh, okay. Anyway, so it's all a bit weird when it comes to the whole Israel thing. Like, they say, if you're a Jew, you shouldn't have to like Israel. But I don't know, like I think, or you might not agree with the government or the way they've done certain things, but I still think as a Jew, you should have respect and love for Israel because it's the Holy Land and it's where our people are mainly, Israel is the only Jewish state. We should be proud of Israel. So I don't want to get involved in politics, but all I know is that my grandma always wanted to go to Israel. It was her dream in life to go to Israel, and she'd never even been on a plane, right? But when she got very, very ill, towards the end actually of her life, she and my cousin Clive went to Israel, and she'd never been on a plane, and the first time she did was Israel, which is like so far away from England. And she had the most amazing experience of her life, and there's loads of photos of her because her words were when she come back, I felt like I was home. I felt like it meant something to me. It really, and to know how happy she was and see those like photographs of her from years ago in Israel, it's just touching. Like I look at them sometimes now and I wish like if I didn't have this phobia of traveling and it wasn't so damn scary out there, I'd love to go to Israel. Do you know what I mean? I just think, oh, sorry, my phone's bleeping on, so I've cancelled it. Yeah, like if I had, could travel and wasn't so scared, I would love to go to Israel. It just looks the most beautiful, historic place, like all those like places I just love to visit, it's just been amazing, like the Wailing Wall and stuff like that. It's just, maybe one day, you know, if I ever pluck up the courage to travel and stuff. So yeah, I am very pro-Israel. Do I agree with everything the governments have done, blah, blah, blah? I'm not going to get into that, but I do definitely love Israel and I'm pro-Israel. So there we go. I'm just rambling. So basically from this, you know that I'm Jewish, but I like reading tarot cards and I celebrate Christmas. So I hope that's kind of explained a bit better. Regards to Nathan, he's atheist, but officially he's Catholic. It's all a bit like random. We're all kind of coming in from all different religions. But yeah, his family are Catholic and he went to a Catholic school, but he's atheist. So people say to me, am I going to have like a Jewish wedding? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to have a Jewish wedding. It's literally going to be, you know, a nice wedding without any kind of religious things. However, saying that, I do want to wear my grandma's Star of David that she wore. Not this one, this is mine. But she had like a gold Star of David that she wore all the time. We've still got. So I want to wear that on my wedding day, just to kind of represent her and Judaism and things like that on my wedding day. But there won't be any like prayers and stuff said. But there we go. Okay, so hopefully you've kind of enjoyed this video. Sorry I've rambled on a bit, and you know, look, it just kind of, you know, I ramble. I just ramble. And yeah, please give me your experiences with religion and stuff like that, your views on it. You know, for many years I wasn't into religion. You know, I was kind of atheist, you know, I didn't believe in anything, you know. I couldn't figure out how dinosaurs are about, but they weren't mentioned in the Bible and things like that. And there's still parts of like the Bible and, you know, religious beliefs that I'm like, but what about, and how did this, and why hasn't, so I'm still very questionable and stuff, but I choose to kind of not ignore those kind of views that I had as an atheist person, but just to kind of wash over them, like, do you know what I mean? Like, they're there, you know, but I still feel a connection with it. So whether it makes sense on paper to me with religion, I still think it's what I feel. When I go in the synagogue, you know, I feel it. When I'm, you know, reading my prayers, when I'm doing the ceremonies and stuff, I feel something. I feel a connection to Judaism and religion. So, yeah, I might not be able to explain everything, but I feel something. And sometimes that's more important than facts, you know, just feeling something. It makes you happy, can't be that bad. It makes you feel strong and supportive and part of a group and unity, then it's a good thing, you know. So there we go. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'm going to go now and have a matzah. I'm not really. But anyway, bye, mazel tov. Okay, right. Thank you for watching. Take care. Mwah. Please subscribe. Bye.